Okay. Before we have our quiet time, let's all get on the same page. If you're in the Sparkly book, it's page 230, second full paragraph, which begins, "Do not look to the God of sickness for healing." If you're in the second edition, it's page 191, paragraph 8. If you're in the first edition, it's page 177, second full paragraph. And if you're in the JCIM, it's page 96, fourth full paragraph. Okay. Let's take a few moments to be quiet together. Okay. Good evening. And welcome to everyone who's joining us on the internet. We talked last week about the fact that God loves you so much that the moment you start for home, the moment you give what He treasures to Him, which is your attention, that in so many words He rushes out to meet you. And we also discussed the fact that you love God so much. Each of you, right now, love God so much that you avoid experiencing that fact. It does sound crazy. It's hard to understand why you would do such a thing, but there is a reason. And the reason is that if you were to let yourself feel it, you would have to abandon a project, a pet project that you are addicted to. And that pet project is to be right. Gee, you say, I didn't know I was trying to be right. Well, think about it for a moment. If you have had as a goal to be independent, autonomous, and successful at it, you have been working very diligently to do it so perfectly that you could establish that your word, your definitions, the meanings you wish to give to everything, are right. Because the minute you can demonstrate that they are right, that you are right, you've demonstrated that you have accomplished successfully being independent. It's called self-righteousness. And for the most part, what you call righteousness is just that and only that. The truth whether you find it in A Course in Miracles or anywhere else, will undercut your self-righteousness constantly. Self-righteousness is arrogance. Self-righteousness is, or the practice of being right, is your attempt to become equal with God, which can't be done. But there is this carrot hanging in front of you that you're chasing after, and that is to actually accomplish becoming equal to God, a creator on your own. Have you ever noticed that when you're around a very righteous person, it's very difficult to communicate with them? Because they never listen to you. They're always reflecting back to you their point of view in a generally coercive way. Their intent is to get you to agree with their point of view. And so they don't let you in. And it's uncomfortable to be around them. Now, all of you may not be obnoxiously righteous, but you must understand that when you are trying to confirm your perspective on things to yourself or to anyone else, without ever saying, God, what's the meaning here? Without ever letting anything else in, you are. In a state of a denial of reality that holds you apart from it and keeps you from being infilled by it. Righteousness is a defense. Against right with a capital R. So, from the ego standpoint, everything we're talking about is bad news. Because in the process of yielding to the Father, in the process of yielding to your right mind, you must abandon the very idea of being right or wrong. You have to abandon being something in your own right. The you that has been trying to establish itself as real or right must get less and less of your attention. Notice I said it must get less and less of your attention, because you're not it. You are the divine one. You are the one God created. You are the one that cannot ever become less or different from what it truly is. This means then that from the ego standpoint, waking up means it was a failure. It means, and it will feel like, you are having to abandon the cause of being right, of becoming right, of proving you are right, and thereby proving that you, in your own right, are real. And so, as you let humility in, as you become humble instead of arrogant and self-righteous, all of the feelings associated with the ethic you're giving up will feel like failure. Will feel like failure. Will feel like failure. Will feel like failure. And it will echo over and over and over. You're a failure. You're a failure. You're a failure. You're failing at your goal. You're failing at your cause. But see, that's the temptation of your conditioned thinking that would invite you back into the ethic of trying to prove you're right. And so in this sense, waking up doesn't feel good. You see, just because you can't be right doesn't mean that you must be wrong. It means that there is something else to be than right or wrong. And the something else to be is whole. The something else to be is what you truly are. And as we've discussed over and over, the only way you can be what you truly are is to acknowledge your source. That you are not the source of your existence. God is. Something else is. And you are the embodiment of it. You are the presence of it, presencing itself right where you are. There's no sense or experience of failure that accompanies that. And there's also not any sense of being right. But there is the experience of pure integrity. Not integrity over and against that which lacks integrity, but simply integrity as the state of being. And in that is invulnerability. The invulnerability that is yours, always has been yours, and always will be. It's an eternal constant. This is what you get instead of the tense struggle you are experiencing in your attempts to be right, ultimately right. This is what you get when you abandon self-righteousness. This is what you get when righteousness is not your goal. You get to be whole. You get to be sane. Let's go into the book. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing. And let's remember that the God of sickness is not sickness. Sickness is not the God. The God of a sick mind, the God of sickness is your belief that you have a capacity to formulate images and concepts and then choose for them to make them real. That you have a capacity to have a perspective and a point of view different from the only one that's really available to you, which is God's point of view, embodied in you as you. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing, but only to the God of love. For healing is the acknowledgement of Him, God. What does that mean? Do not look to the God of sickness for healing. It means do not look for a personal capacity that you, as you have defined yourself, have to accomplish anything on your own. Healing of yourself or of another, and I'm really addressing the idea of healing another, can never be the result of a force of will that you bring to bear with your best expression of truth to change someone else. That's looking to the God of sickness for healing. It means you're looking to something that has apparently arisen out of a capacity you have to have a point of view different from God's, and then using that point of view about yourself and your righteous capacity to accomplish things to force another one to experience his or her good. Looking to the God of sickness for healing means that you're looking to something other than God Himself. That you're not silencing your mind and your concepts and the chatter of ideas that you love, and in the silence, desiring of God to know what is the truth, so that you might let that through, so that the inspiration that comes might easily find voice and words and actions that are in perfect harmony with it. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing, but only to the God of love. For healing is the acknowledgement of Him. Oh, the healing of what? Your brother that's in need of healing? Or you healed of your independence because you prayed and you let God in and abandoned your independence. You must be healed in order for you to give the gift of healing. Now I know that there are those who say, well, the only place that healing needs to occur is in you. That once you let the Father in, together with the influx of truth that you will find yourself knowing, you will no longer see a call for healing. You will no longer see a brother in need of healing, and that is not true. You will find yourself seeing the calls for love from your brothers as calls for love, instead of demonstrations of their illness. But until there is clarity in their mind, they will continue to embody their illness, their devotion to their ability, their capacity to formulate concepts and try to make them real by seeking mutual agreement through mild-mannered or coercive means. And so you will see their obnoxious behavior not as a statement of their obnoxiousness and what kind of person they are, but as a call for love. And you will extend the love that you're infilled with. You are not creating others' bad experiences. When you see a bad experience, when you see bad behavior, when you see obnoxious behavior, when you see individuals suffering from their beliefs, you're not creating that out of whole cloth. And your mind is not the only place that healing needs to occur. But your mind is the place where the influx of love and truth must come in order for you to see another's confusion as a call for correction rather than a statement of their actual condition. I've said listen, learn, and do. You listen, you go within, you listen, and you learn by means of the influx of the experience of truth, and then you do, meaning you act spontaneously out from the clarity of truth that you find yourself knowing because it's been revealed to you. And you do engage in actions that promote correction so that your brother's confusion is replaced by knowing the truth that frees him up. Continuing, when you acknowledge him, meaning God, you will know that he has never ceased to acknowledge you, and that in his acknowledgement of you lies your being. There's that verb again. Lies your being. Lies the very wholeness of you. You are not sick, and you cannot die. And I know you say, yeah, I know. But that's very hard to believe, because all the evidence is that I can. All the evidence is that everyone has. And thus, you tell me of your God. You tell me what you are worshiping. You tell me what is of value to you. What you believe is more valuable to you than the truth. Now, you might not think that's righteousness, but it is. You value what you believe more than you value what God is being. You might think you're very malleable and flexible and willing to wake up and to hear the truth from me. But you will argue. And when you hear of somebody with a terminal disease, you will find yourself confronted with your own sense of mortality. And you'll say, I have nothing to object to that with. And in effect, your behavior and your attitude tells me that you're trying to teach me that the God of death is all-powerful. And that's the God you're serving. And that you're certainly not going to mentally contradict your God of death. You say, I can't contradict it. Nobody but you has ever accomplished it. And I'm not even sure I'm talking to you, Jesus. I would like to believe that I am, but I don't know for a fact. But I sure do know that there's no one on this planet today that was here 2,000 or 5,000 years ago and has been here uninterruptedly. And so I have no justification for an absolute faith in my divinity or the fact that I need not die. Just be honest with yourselves. This is the God you serve. This is the God you have faith in. And this is the God you will confirm. I mean, really, tell me. You're at a dinner party with friends. Or maybe there are people you have never met before. Are you going to sit there and say, you know, none of us needs to die. I'm not going to die. Oh, no. Why not? Because you are an obedient servant to your God. If you are not aware of the obedience to your God that you practice, you will have no basis for conceiving of there being another experience, nor will you see that there is an absolute call for you to dishonor this God, disagree with this God, argue every single point that stands in the favor of this God, and consciously and conscientiously withdraw your allegiance to it. By what? By no longer giving lip service to God. Oh, I know there's a God. And I know my life is eternal. And I know I will forever be with God. Come on. That isn't what you believe. You believe that the ultimate stroke of or action that exists to be experienced is your death. Now, is that bad? Does that make you wrong? No. It just means that you've forgotten that there's another way to look at this. And that you can withdraw your allegiance to this God, to this belief, and place it somewhere else. And then begin to do it. And I tell you what, when you've overcome death, then tackle taxes. You are not sick, and you cannot die. But you can confuse yourself with things that do.